This scheme is intended to support employees through providing wage subsidies to their employers. So we will not draw a distinction between the resident status, ethnicity, or background of the individuals. As I've mentioned, the distinction will be drawn on the basis of the industry. So for certain business sectors which are not adversely affected by the COVID-19 epidemic, they will not be eligible.
Just to recap, in the 2020 ESS program, it sort of covers the period of June to November 2020. You probably remember the third wave is peak around July and August in 2020. Very likely because of the ESS program, the unemployment was rather stable at that time, at around 6.1 to 6.3%, even though the peak of the third wave hit Hong Kong. After the end of the third wave, the fourth wave came around mid-November 2020. The ESS stopped in November 2020. Then the unemployment rate started to increase in December 2020 and reached its peak by the time February 2021, that is 7.2%. The whole purpose of the ESS back at that time is to try to keep the business afloat so that when the epidemic subsides, the industry can revise very quickly. And if you look at the figures, it clearly illustrates how quickly the economy picks up in 2021. As Chief Executive just mentioned, in the announced figure in February 2021, the unemployment rate was 7.2%. In 10 months' time, it drops to 3.9%. The best comparison is back in 2003, during the period of SARS. In June 2003, the unemployment rate was 8.5%. To reduce by 3.3%, the same magnitude that we have in 2021, it took 2.5 years before the unemployment rate dropped down to 5.9%. What it really tells us is that the rebound in 2021 is very quick. And if you look at the impact of ESS during the third wave, and then how much the business can uphold themselves, and how they can recover very quickly after this fourth wave, it illustrates the importance of a ESS program. But just to highlight the current proposed ESS is slightly different because of the timing. If you remember, in 2020, when we start announcing the ESS, it was right after the second wave, before the third wave. We didn't know when the third wave would come. So the whole idea is to keep the business afloat. But now it's like different. Now, if everything's, we can say touch wood, if the peak of the fifth wave has already passed more than a week ago, and now is the time to think about how we can keep the business coming, to help them to coming back very quickly as possible. So the design, as spelled out by the Chief Executive right now, is to encourage them to increase their employment, because the amount of subsidy will depend on how many employees they will employ. And so that will help the business to rebound far more quickly.